Now for The Drive on ESPN Blacksburg, AM 1430, 810, FM 94.1, and live on the web at espnblacksburg.com.
It's The Drive on ESPN Blacksburg, and a good evening to all of you. My name is Paul Van Wagoner. That guy is KG. He is taking your calls at 961-1430. That's 961-1430. Love to hear from you today. Jason Stamm is joining us from the VT Zone and Scout.com. I don't know if he heard this yet or not, but Stamm, you've been traded to the Chicago Bulls as part of the pre-draft trade. So congratulations, man.
So is that part of the Derrick Rose deal?
Yeah, I think so. I think you were the player to be named later.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Well, as long as they give me a few days to report to Chicago, I guess I'll be okay.
Good news is you didn't get traded to L.A. You don't have to deal with Swaggy P. So I guess that's something right there. How are you, man? How's it going?
It's busy, Paul. It's camp season, man. I'm in a little break between camps. I'm heading out tomorrow to the Sound Mind, Sound Body camp, football camp up in just outside of Washington, D.C. in Maryland.
Now, when you are attending camps, and I know that Scouts.com has a very vast reach across the U.S., you concentrate on a specific area of the nation, right, for football players?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much I'm assigned to Virginia Tech. I mean, okay. I'll point out, I'll look for guys that either Virginia Tech is already recruiting or guys that I think they probably have a good shot that maybe they should be recruiting.
Sure.
And also keep an eye on other guys too that stand out. If there's somebody who has an offer from, let's say Florida, for example, I'll let our Florida site know, hey, this guy really had a great camp.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let them know kind of why. And maybe, hey, you guys need to keep an eye on this kid. Or, maybe somebody says something about Florida that maybe they don't know about.
Sure.
Or something about Virginia Tech they don't know about. So it's a lot of scouting on the field and off the field. It's a lot of keeping tabs and kind of keeping your head on a swivel, honestly, on and off the field to kind of keep really an ear to the ground on what's going on, where these guys are looking, where they're visiting, who they're interested in, who's looking at them, kind of a little bit of everything.
Well, let's talk about the number 11 running back in the East right now, John Lovett. He made a visit to Rutgers on Tuesday. Scarlet Knights are in his top 5, but so is Virginia Tech. Being a kid out of New Jersey, what are the chances that the Hokies can pull him south a little bit?
I don't know. They're looking good right now. I mean, we're kind of it's not 100% whether Virginia Tech has really offered him to this point. So the fact that they've kind of gotten in his top 5, I think, says a lot. The other schools, the other 4 in his top 5 have all offered. So The fact that they're hanging in there with some of these guys that have been in there for some time now that are firm offers, I think really speaks highly to where he how he views Virginia Tech. And obviously, I think, being that it's not a firm offer at this point, I think they're in very good position.
I like the, and I'm on the Scouts.com website right now, and I love the line. Lovett says he doesn't know much about Virginia Tech, but he's eager to see it. So, I mean, I think that goes to what you were saying, is that there's some sort of, I guess, aura there about the Hokies that seem to have this young man's attention.
Yeah, I know July 23rd is the next date to really keep an eye on. That's I've had so many recruits tell me about it. There's a cookout that Virginia Tech's having, and a lot of them are getting invited to, and I think that's probably the next date I would really look at when Lovett could probably visit Virginia Tech. Now, I mean, he could before then, but I know a lot of the staff will be out on vacation, and obviously he wouldn't get the attention that he probably would get had he if he comes any other time. But that's the time where I would say, to really keep an eye on him and anybody else who's really in the mix. Anybody who shows up for that elite or that cookout is probably I would consider them very high on Virginia Tech going into it. But obviously, somebody like Lovett, I mean, that could be what seals the deal.
Did you get an invite to the cookout yet?
I haven't gotten an invite to the cookout yet. Of course, I'm going to be in Chicago, so I'll be here to.
Well, if you get an invite, send it to me, man. I'll go in your place. I'll be Jason Stamm for the day. The next player I wanted to ask you about is Devin Hunter. Now, this kid is a legit athlete. 5 stars out of Chesapeake, Virginia. The likes of Clemson, Florida, Alabama, and Auburn on his list. But so are the Hokies. Now, number 1 athlete in Virginia, number 1 athlete in the East, number 3 overall. Do they have a chance?
Devin Hunter is a guy who's been, Virginia Tech. I first got to look at Devin Hunter. The first time I ever met him, first time I ever saw him in person, 2 years ago at one of Virginia Tech's camps. So this is a kid who's been on their radar for well before that. It was right before he blew up. At that point, I'd heard of Devin Hunter. That was way before he was 5 stars and number 4 in the country. But, Clemson, Florida, Alabama, those are the ones that really to kind of keep an eye on. I mean, he developed a really strong relationship with Torian Gray. That's probably the biggest reason why Florida is in there. But Clemson has been in there for some time. I mean, even talking to him and his mom last year, they were really enamored with everything about Clemson. They loved the staff. They loved just the personality of Dabo Swinney. And I think after they visited down there, it made it even put him even higher on the list. He hasn't been down there very much. He's been to Virginia Tech a lot more. He was at Virginia Tech's Virginia Beach satellite camp last week, so I saw him there in person. I think they're firmly there, but I still think Clemson is probably the one to beat. North Carolina's kind of hanging in, and he ended up not visiting, so I don't know kind of where they stand. But Clemson, I think by far they remain at the top, and I think they're still at the top right now.
So 6'2", 206 as an athlete in his junior campaign, 91 tackles, 3 interceptions. Do they have him playing defensive back, or is he playing like a hybrid linebacker?
Yeah, I think he's more of a safety, but I think that's a good point with him being a linebacker. I don't know if depending on who you listen or you talk to. I mean, I think there's been some criticism that he maybe doesn't move as well to be a DB.
Okay.
So I think in that being said, I could see him maybe bulking up a little bit, moving up the linebacker, where he doesn't have to cover as much ground as you would as a safety. But right now, that's his primary position in high school. He primarily plays safety, but again, because of just the way he moves and the speed he has, which is good speed, 4.43.
Yeah.
But maybe not the best hips. So I think that maybe may put him at some point down the road, put him at linebacker.
Would he, based on the body type and what you just told me, be a good fit for the whip in Bud Foster's defense?
I don't know. I mean, the whip linebackers are all, if you look at them, they're a very certain build. They're usually all kind of wiry. I don't think spindly is the right word, but they got very long reach.
Yep.
It's a guy that really needs to. It's a certain body type. It really is. If you even go back to like Ronnie Van Dyke, Ronnie Van Dyke had so many injury issues. I think that really obviously prevented him for maximizing what he could be as a whip linebacker. But that's the body type you look for. I mean, that kind of slender frame, but somebody who's very agile and can move really well. So I don't know if Devin Hunter quite fits that, but I think he could be a good linebacker if that's where they decide, whoever decides to put him.
Sure, absolutely. Virginia Tech, I've noticed over the course of the last couple of days, has got some verbal commitments from a few players. Any standouts in that group? Anybody that we really should be kind of keeping our eye on? I know at the end of the day, a verbal's just that. It's a verbal, but obviously it shows that the Hokies are going in the right direction.
Yeah, since you and I talked last, Paul, they had 4 commitments total, nice. 3 on the football side, 1 on the basketball side. I'll start with basketball first, so just have 1 there. I like Jaron McAllister a lot, and that's a kid at Virginia Tech. As hard as it is in this day and age with social media to keep somebody quiet and under wraps,
yeah.
I mean, you got to. I mean, it's almost just when I heard of the commitment, when I was told about it, I almost just had to clap my hands at the way they handle that entire thing, because this is a guy that hardly anybody knew about.
Right.
He plays for a pretty good AAU team in Garner Road, but not one of those guys that's a frontline guy. He's just got a lot of talent in front of him. So he picked up a VCU offer the day before he committed. So last Thursday, he committed on Friday. That was his only other offer, was VCU. And this is a guy who's been, I think he told me he'd been to Virginia Tech like 3 or 4 times now, had not visited anywhere else. A lot of places didn't even have him in their database. I know, we had to place him in the database, So Virginia Tech has done an excellent job of keeping this guy under the radar. Again, he's only 2018, so he's got 2 more years left. That's a lot of time for somebody to change their mind, but to keep him under wraps that long, that's pretty impressive. And on the football side, Henry Murphy is a guy, anybody who's followed our stuff should know by now. Virginia Tech has been the front runner for, I guess as long as Justin Fuente went to Virginia Tech. I mean, this is a guy that coming out of high school only had a D2 offer, so he took it. And last second, James Shebas comes in, tries to give him an offer for Memphis. That D2 school, Henderson State, would not let him out of his letter of intent, so he has to go to JUCO. Spends a year there, and he's going to enroll at Virginia Tech actually here in a couple of weeks for the July semester. So he's only going to spend 1 year at JUCO, but because he was not let out of that letter of intent, he has to redshirt this season. So, I think that will help him down the road. Obviously, he should be well apt for the playbook. He's going to run track starting in December. He's allowed to do that. So he's going to be busy, but this is a guy who I think can give them a lot of help at wide receiver. They've looked at him as possibly playing defensive back, but I think based on the need, based on we don't know what Isaiah Ford and Cam Phillips are going to do, especially Isaiah Ford after this season, I think there's a very good chance, obviously depending on how the rest of the class shakes out, there's a very good chance that Murphy probably is more suitable to help Virginia Tech out at wide receiver.
Okay. And then what about the other commits then? Who else did they get on the football side?
Yeah, Lacita Smith is a kid from Georgia. He's played pretty much tight end, but in the offense they have, it's a running offense. So he's pretty much been a blocking tight end.
Okay.
That's the reason why I think we may be the only scouting service that has him listed as an offensive line tackle.
Yes.
I think we still think it is a very good shot that he moves over to tackle. Virginia Tech recruited him as a tight end, but based on, again, need, body type, where he's been playing, the style of play he's played, the type of offense, I think he's probably better suited to play offensive line. So it would not surprise me at all to see him move over to tackle. Malik Willis was the third commitment. Another kid from Georgia. He was actually offered at Virginia Tech satellite camp they had in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. This has all been brand new. I mean, Virginia Tech immediately shot up because his uncle, if any Virginia Tech fans remember him, was James Anderson. He actually graduated 2005, played about 6 years in the NFL. So he's got some good genetics, and obviously that helps in his interest. I mean, he talked about he told me he remembered going to Virginia Tech game to watch his uncle in 2005 when he was 7 years old. So definitely a good one to kind of keep that family tradition going, I think. And they recruited him as a true athlete. So still not sure exactly where he's going to play. It's just going to kind of depend on, again, how the rest of the class shakes out and kind of where he really sticks out when he gets to Virginia Tech as far as position-wise, all the coaches.
I'm on Scout.com right now, and I'm on the Virginia Tech page, and I'm looking at Smith. And, man, I'll tell you what, from a body type standpoint, I mean, he'll have to bulk up a little bit to play college football, but he's a big kid coming in as potentially either a tight end or an offensive tackle.
But just look at the picture. Like, that picture's from the opening this year, and he's got such a thick neck.
Yeah.
And you can tell based on that. I mean, I think he could add some weight. I don't think there's any question at all based on just how thick his neck is. And that's also, I think part of why, another reason why I think makes him a very good candidate to move over to tackle.
Now, from a standpoint of I guess mobility, does he fit the type the type of tackle that Virginia Tech would need to run that spread offense? Is he going to be fast enough to go the way Justin Fuente wants to go?
I think he is, because I think, again, as a tight end, I think he could play tight end, but I think he's not quite, he's not a guy that you're going to send 20 yards downfield. He's nowhere near like a Bucky Hodges type.
Sure.
I mean, he's been more of a blocker. So, maybe not quite as fast to be a tight end, but because he's almost there as a tight end, that puts him kind of above par where you'd want to see tackles. So I think speed-wise, mobility-wise, I think he's definitely got it to be a tackle. And he's used to it. He's done a lot of blocking in high school. So he can catch. I mean, he's done a lot of goal line situations, I know, in high school. But again, just kind of based on a lot of different factors, I think he's got a very good shot to move over to tackle at some point.
Any potential big news on the horizon? Anything that the listeners should be keeping an eye open for as far as possible commitments over the course of the next few days, or is it going to depend on how things shake out at some more camps?
Yeah, we're not really expecting any commitments right now, but you might look at the Devin Hunter story that our guy Michael Clark put out this week. Devin Hunter, he said he's going to put out some top schools sometime later this week. It's looking like, I think he said a top 11 is what he wants to put out. So kind of an odd number, but he's given a few schools that he says are definitely going to make that list. Virginia Tech being one of them, which again, no surprise at all, they should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd be looking for that one kind of to see who all is going to be in there. Again, it's pretty much going to come down to about 3 or 4 schools. Virginia Tech, Clemson being at the top, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, I guess, kind of in the mix there. But that's probably really the next one that's really said, anything they're doing. At least they've got planned over the next few days.
Let Michael Clark know I really liked him in the Green Mile, okay?
I'll try to. I'll try to let him know.
Jason Stamm, Scouts.com, the VT Zone man. As always, thank you so much. Lots of great information, tons of insight for our listeners. We really do appreciate it. Talk to you next week, man.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Paul.
Take care. Thanks a lot. There you go, Jason Stamm. If you want to follow along, the VT Zone on Twitter, lots of great information there. Also, Scouts.com, they've got a great website, and you can get the highlights of what's going on pretty much on a daily basis. They keep you up to date as far as who's being recruited, where they're being recruited, who their top schools are, and all that. I encourage you to check it out. Coming up, we got to talk a little hockey, KG. Why wouldn't we, right? It's the middle of June. Might as well talk a little puck next on the drive.
This is ESPN Blacksburg. We speak sports.